Tonight, scorching heat in Perth as mercury peaked 40 degrees. Former state opposition leader Eric Ripper has reinstated why he resigned. Welcome.
Also in the news tonight, public relations crisis for Henry Tang as he braces for more rumours. And Japan pauses to remember the devastating earthquake and tsunami from last year.
This is the Evening News.
Good evening. The temperature mercury has peaked at 40 degrees as another heat wave struck Perth yesterday. A total fire ban was in place during the weekend as the Fire Emergency Service Authority warns the community to exercise caution and prevent bushfires. Joining us is our reporter Shibs at Fremantle Beach. Shibs, how hot is it?
Yes, Ivan, it's scorching outside. Yesterday we hit a maximum of 40 degrees, but according to the thermometer in my car, it's 37 degrees right now, but people are loving it. It's going to be hot for the next few days with a maximum of 31 on Tuesday and Wednesday, 29 on Thursday and 28 on Friday. FESA declared a total fire ban over the weekend, but it has since been lifted. That's all from me out here on the beach in Fremantle. I'll be back in the studio with sports. But back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Shibs. The WA Health Minister, Kim Hames, has unveiled the new block of the Joondalup Health Campus. The expansion program was made possible with a total of 394 million Australian dollars worth of funding contributed from Ramsay Health, the state and federal government. The block includes 12 operating theatres, a 9-bed intensive care unit, a 6-bed high dependency unit and a 10-bed coronary care unit. Despite the hospital now providing an additional bed capacity, Dr Hames admits there has been a significant growth in service demand.
With the new facility, there has been a significant growth in demand, and part of that is the ageing population, and particularly in this part of Western Australia, the significant growth in the numbers of the population.
The project's final major redevelopment is set to be completed early next year.
Former state opposition leader Eric Ripper has accepted my one-on-one interview to have a look back at his political career. During the discussion, he reinstated to DHK News why he resigned as the top man of West Australia's Labor Party, his defence on the controversial carbon tax put up by federal Labor, and his reasons of supporting same-sex marriage. Here's an extract of the interview. Mr. Ripper, welcome to Evening News.
Thank you very much.
Why did you resign?
Well, you have to act in the interest of the party, and sufficient of my colleagues had reached a judgment that my leadership wasn't going to succeed, and of course there was polling information which showed that no matter how hard I was working, it didn't seem to be cutting the mustard with the people of Western Australia. So I made a judgment about what was in the interest of the party.
Now let's talk a little bit about your previous work. You blame Colin Barnett for putting up water, gas, electricity prices and funding to his offices. And now Julie Gillard obviously has pushed through the carbon tax on the other hand. Isn't it a little bit hypocritical for you in Labor to criticise Colin for raising all those utility prices?
Well, I see the point you're making, but the fact is with the carbon price there will be compensation. So very shortly people are going to receive, if they're pensioners, increases in their pension, and if they're taxpayers, reductions in their tax. There's no compensation, not a single cent, for what Colin Barnett has done.
Now, do you support gay marriage?
Look, I support marriage equality. I think it's just part of the fair go. What public policy should do is support those people that are prepared to make long-term commitments to each other, that are prepared to love and support each other. And it doesn't matter what their sexual preference is. If people form those mutually supportive and loving relationships, let them have access to marriage.
But it potentially causes the division on the community and twists the foundation of the Australian society and the definition of marriage. Do you still stand by your view?
Yes, I do. I understand that this is a sensitive issue, but my own view is it doesn't compromise the meaning of marriage for other people. It's simply a matter of marriage equality. It's simply a matter of the fair go. Now, I appreciate there are people who have different views, but that's my view.
And are there any regrets, finally?
Oh, well, look, in any job, in any role, you do have regrets. I look back and I think I could have done that better, I could have done this better. But I certainly don't regret going into politics, and I certainly don't regret taking on the challenge of being the leader of my party. It's a great honour and a privilege to have been in politics and to have reached the position of leadership of my party. Now, it didn't work entirely as I wanted, but nevertheless, it was a worthwhile thing to have done.
Eric, thank you very much.
Ivan, thanks a lot.
If you want to see the full version of the interview, please hop on to www.youtube.com/DHK channel. Click on the title Interviewing Eric Ripper, a look back at his political career to watch.
Transport Minister Troy Buswell has announced that WA learner drivers will have to do at least double the amount of logbook hours before they're allowed to drive solo. Under the new system, learners will first need to log at least 25 hours supervised driving before sitting a practical test, followed by another 25 hours supervised driving before they get their licence. Mr Buswell said that the new policy is about ensuring learner drivers become safe drivers.
After the Hong Kong media exposed an illegal house modification which heavily damaged Chief Executive contender Henry Tang's public image, rumours about his illegitimate child has refused to go away. Mr Tang did not make any further comments on the matter, while his wife has openly maintained her unconditional support to her husband during a radio interview at the same day.
3 of the chief executive candidates have attended a closed-door forum held by the Federation of Hong Kong Filmmakers. 6 of the election committee members and approximately 20 film directors have joined the discussion. The first speaking candidate is Henry Tang, who has ensured that he will continue to support the Hong Kong film industry if he will be elected as chief executive. When Henry Tang was asked again by the journalist about rumours that he has an illegitimate child, Mr Tang refused to make further comments on the matter. While Henry Tang's main rival Leung has also rejected rumours that he has committed infidelity, Mr Leung said his wife has read the report and discovered the claims aren't true, as she have never questioned herself about the extramarital affair. On the other hand, the third candidate, Albert Ho, believes extramarital affair should only make known if there's conflict of interests involving the public. Otherwise, the person involved should resolve the matter privately with the family members. John Y, DHK News, Hong Kong.
A memorial service was held in Japan to remember the victims and the devastation caused by the Japanese earthquake and tsunami, which happened exactly a year ago. The Prime Minister and Emperor attended the service. The road to recovery for Japan is still a long one. Laurent Chan has more.
Japan has posted itself on Sunday as the nation marks a year since a huge earthquake and tsunami that left nearly 20,000 dead or missing and triggered the nuclear crisis at Fukushima. At 2:46, the Japanese has fallen silent to mark the exact moment when the natural disaster began. Japanese Prime Minister and the Emperor was leading silent prayers at the national ceremony of remembrance in Tokyo for those who lost their lives in the country's worst post-war disaster. Small rural towns along the coastline were wiped out. As the tsunami approaches, the communities in the area were set to hold their own emotional ceremonies. Meanwhile, protesters were gathering to protest against nuclear power in the city of Koriyama. Laurent Chan, DHK News.
Sports is next with Shibs, who is just able to make it back to the studio.
Thanks, guys. The state government Lottery West grant has pledged over $135,000 to the Perth to Broome Great Bike Hike. A group of 12 riders, including several Paralympians, will cycle nearly 2,500 kilometers and visit 10 towns along the way. Organised by the Fair Home Disability Support Group, the Great Bike Hike aims to celebrate the many diverse projects and activities enriching the lives of everyone within the community. Disability Service Minister Helen Morton is positive about the campaign.
At every stop along the way, there's going to be an event or a function that is going to be used to encourage people to develop inclusive communities in that particular community.
In this weekend's English Premier League matches, Chelsea beat 10-man Stoke 1-0, while underperforming Liverpool also slumped to a 1-0 defeat at the hands of Sunderland. Bad news for Tottenham too, as they suffered their third straight defeat against Everton, losing to a debut goal by Nikita Jelevic, giving manager David Moyes reason to smile as he celebrated his 10th year in charge. And that's all the sports we have for you tonight, and it's good to be back in aircon.
I'm glad that you are, and that's how the world looks tonight.
That's all from us tonight. Good evening.
Good night.